of family life with Mama RITA. This week, we are going to have Pastor Joe from Texas. He's been something else in the past few weeks. We had him 2 weeks ago, and he was, oh my God, the messages I received. We had him for a counselors meeting and the training he gave to us. And then on Father's Day, I was blown away. He spoke to us on parenting. I thought I knew all about parenting. But on Father's Day, I began to, mark myself. My husband gave himself 5 over 10. I don't know, but I think I scored more than my husband. But he's been so good, and we have been so blessed. We can't wait to have him again next year. And then also with me is Minister Fabio Wilson. So many questions have come up, and they will help me today do Ask Mama RITA. Please keep watch, and you are going to be blessed. We are going to go to our co-host and find out the questions we have. But please, whilst we are on, don't forget to send your questions. And I hope you are taking good care of yourself. My co-host.
Yes, Mommy.
You look sharp.
Thank you. This is from Ohene Manche Clothing.
Wow.
Ohene Manche.
I love the colors.
Awesome. He's the master of patterns.
This is powerful.
Thank you, Mommy.
Please, did your wife see you before you left home?
Most definitely. I will read her message.
You read her message. Please read her message.
And we have a lot of comments here that are complimenting your outfit as well. Facebook, YouTube, everybody says you're looking awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we are live on Facebook, Sankrachi Ankara, on Mama RITA K, across all networks. We are on your digital channel, your favorite digital channel, Powerline TV. And Mommy, I was in WA some past weeks ago, and everybody there was glued to their television set, Powerline TV.
Wow.
It's amazing what the Lord is doing with this channel.
Wow.
We are also live on YouTube, Powerline TV, and keep your messages coming, +233-200-515253. Well, we'll go straight. This one is coming from Portia Inuro. Portia Inuro says, Mommy, you are looking mwah, with some kisses there for you.
Thank you, Portia. Please get it back.
Bismarck Ado also says, they call you the love doctor.
Wow.
But I call you R2GO mama.
Hey!
And he says, meaning refusing to grow old mama. Bismarck, you sound like someone who wants school fees.
I guess right. Bismarck is waiting for school fees.
He's waiting for school fees. It will happen. It will happen. Well, we move straight to our first question for the day, Mommy. This one says, good evening, Mama RITA, and your lovely guests.
Good evening.
Please, I have been married for the past 17 years, and we don't have a child yet. I have decided to go in for a foster child, but my husband is against the idea. Strangely, I have been harboring these thoughts of getting pregnant with an old friend to have a baby for him. But I don't feel right about it, obviously. And I'm thinking of quitting the marriage because I feel very frustrated about this. Please help me.
Minister Fabio.
Well,
she's married, no kids.
17 years.
17 years
without a child.
She wants to adapt, and the husband says no.
I can understand, the frustration, especially in the setting that we are in, where immediately you get married, everybody's looking up to you when the baby is going to come, and there's a lot of pressure. What else? She didn't indicate whether medically they've gone to check to make sure everything is okay. So that, if you haven't done, maybe you should look at that. And then there are a lot of, solutions and, remedies now. But the question about what you are harboring, you know very well that it is not right. Going to have a child with somebody else and then coming to, present it as safe as your husband's. You may never know when, you'll be traveling and the DNA would have to be done or something will happen and it will come out. That will be so embarrassing and so shameful for you. I think what you need to do is to talk to your husband again. Maybe get somebody to speak to him about the adoption. Because I've heard testimonies where couples who are struggling, trying to have a child, they go in to adopt or they make preparations just to adopt and then God surprises them. So continue praying, continue speaking to your husband, get somebody to talk to him to open up on, the adoption option. But the option you want to take or you're contemplating about, please, 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 it is not the best. It is not right. You may be smiling on the other side of your teeth if you should go through and you are found out.
Pastor Joe, in this part of the world, immediately you get married, people start counting from the very first day. And then the 9th month, they don't wait for you. The 9th month, people now start asking questions. Your in-laws, father-in-law, mother-in-law will start, when are my grandchildren coming? I'm waiting for my grandchildren. Your own parents, colleagues, church members, neighborhood. People will just pass, we've been waiting. So it's a huge thing. Having children is a huge thing in this part of our world. She's waited for 17 years. And now, some time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, adoption wasn't a popular thing. But now people are beginning to accept it. And she wants to do it. Her husband says no. And now what she wants to do is to help God. To go and sleep with a former boyfriend or something and get pregnant and say is the child of the husband. What do you think about it? She's wondering what she must do.
Yeah. Well, I thought you gave a wonderful answer and brought a lot of light to it. The situation reminds me of a situation in the Old Testament with Sarah. God had promised Abraham a son, and I'm sure he shared that with Sarah, and she waited a long time. It actually was 25 years before she had the child. But before that, Sarah took things into her own hands. And without getting into the details, a young boy named Ishmael was born to another woman, and we're still suffering the consequences of when people take things in their own hands. So what I would say, first of all, my understanding of marriage is that when two people get married, the family is complete. Children don't complete the family, they add to the family. So that husband and wife, it would be wonderful to see them experience oneness and take full advantage of that. I know people that have children and they wish they didn't because it's such a challenge. But the idea of trying, in America we have things that are available like in vitro.
That's right.
Where they can, but it's very expensive.
Yeah,
Most
very
people in
expensive.
America can't afford to do
We
it.
have it here by extremely expensive.
There's a family in our church, and they have 2 children from in vitro, and it's a wonderful thing. For most people, it's not possible. But I think the importance of a couple being one, recognizing. So the Lord says, I've been talking about this lately, when a couple is married, 2 people become one, or now have the opportunity to live as if they're one. When it comes to having children, that's something you should decide together. Now, I would say this. Since in the birthing of children, the woman does most of the work, I think her opinion should be especially appreciated. So the man that wants his wife to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 10 and 20, it's easy for him to say. It's a lot more difficult. So I think the woman's wishes should be taken especially into consideration. But in this situation, we have a man that he's not, I don't know if he's not willing to try to have children, they just aren't able to, and I don't know if they know why. But when it comes to adoption, I would say to this woman, I appreciate and I understand your desire to have children. It's my greatest passion has been to be a father. But I would pray and win your husband, as it says in 1 Peter, without a word. Begin to pray that God would change his heart and ask him if you can discuss it with him and have a discussion. And then if you're not in agreement, you can perhaps say, look, can we pick this up again in 6 months? And you're going to be praying behind the scenes at that time, maybe fasting and asking God to change his heart. But I would not want you, certainly your thought of having relations with someone else, and you know, and that is going to cause horrible havoc. God can't bless that because it goes against his word. So please don't do that, but maybe just do the best you can to focus on coming to an agreement with your husband. And I think that could be a good thing.
My darling, you got the answer. 2 wrongs don't make a right. A sin is a sin. It is something you would have to live with it for years. You would forever feel guilty. You will forever not feel pure before God. Anytime you see that child, you'll be reminded of that sin. And these days, and a lot of people had to fall, you know, into that trap where they were traveling with a child and a DNA had to be done. And I mean, so many children have been, you know, broken up. You know, the day I spoke about, what were we talking about? Where I said somebody came to me and he went to do DNA only to realize that that child wasn't his, and wanted to take the child to his mother and came to, I said, you know what, keep that child is yours. Somebody sent me a message. The person said, I think the mom and the dad separated. The father went to America. He actually followed up to join the father in America. And then something happened in America. And right in America, he had to do DNA. That is when it was known that he wasn't the biological child of his father. Guess what? We didn't have family life at the time. So this man had to put the boy in the next available flight and sent him to Ghana. Till date, the boy is shattered. It's a message I received.
I think I remember what you're trying to talk about with Reverend Patrick on
Yes.
the one that finally the mother was no more and the dad had to deal, you know, because the mother wasn't there, he couldn't know who the biological father was. And if you don't help such a child, they will be broken forever. That's right. You know.
So this child was broken forever. Joins the father in America, knows that this is my father, goes to do DNA. It was noticed that this was not his biological father. They fly him down. Until date, his mom has never been able to apologize. His mom has never been able to explain. His mom has never said anything to him. He's old now, but he said it's still a bother to him. So my darling, please don't do it. Wait for God's timing. In Royal House Chapel, we have seen Reverend Pogas.
About 20 years.
22 years. Reverend Pogas and Mama Perfect, 22 years. God bless them with their own. In any case, Pastor Joe says, pray about it. I believe that if you are praying behind the scenes, God could touch your husband and your husband will agree. And for the men out there listening to me, my darling, there is nothing whatsoever with adoption. There's nothing whatsoever wrong with it. Once you take them when they are young, that child, you can love that child and see that child as your very own. Don't wait. I've seen so many men not agree to it. By the time they agreed, they were 60. When are you going to take a child through class 1, class 2, JSS? I mean, you would have destroyed the life of that child. Please take a decision and then do it now. God bless you.
God richly bless you. And as far as Mommy has said, the testimonies of waiting on God are there. The option of adoption is also very ripe. Discuss it and let the Lord have you excited. And I love one part that Reverend Joe mentioned, that the man and the woman are in themselves a complete family. Which is exciting. Which is
Complete family.
Wow. From Christiana Esiedu, she says, God bless you, Mama Rita. Your sessions are a pure therapy.
Thank you.
We go to our next question, which says, good evening, Mommy.
Good evening.
I am a lady of 30 years, and I am 3 years in marriage with a child, and at the moment, carrying pregnancy. My husband has been cheating on me in the past few years. Though he is not physically abusive, I really feel the pain always. I am from the southern part of Ghana, and almost all the ladies that he had an affair with are from the northern part where he hails. I'm confused, Mommy, because I think he wants to be with somebody of his tribe. Do I quit? Please advise me.
Reverend Joe.
30-year-old lady.
I hope you understood.
I did. Now, I don't have the understanding of the tribal complexities that take place, but, you know, the Bible says marriage is once for a lifetime. However, adultery is a biblical grounds for divorce, and there's a reason, because the covenant has been broken by the person that committed adultery. It seems that you had said that this has happened on a number of occasions. And I think now we're moving into the fact that you're actually in an abusive relationship. So and abuse is not necessarily a biblical grounds for divorce. It's certainly a grounds for separation. But the multiple adulteries, in America, I would be saying, again, I want to honor my lack of understanding the culture here, but I would strongly recommend you to end that marriage. Now, you can end the marriage, and if the man is willing to repent, and if he's willing to commit to being faithful, then he can come back to you and you can be remarried again. I work with many couples. A lot of the marriage coaching I do is for couples where there's been adultery, but it's not with multiple times with multiple different people. And that really shows that this man is not serious. He's not committed to the oneness that marriage involves. And I would say at this point, you need to meet with your pastor. You need to talk to your parents and get a support system around you. And that man needs to step out of that. He should not even be having relations with you anymore. Who knows what's going to happen to you with the people he's sleeping with. There are diseases that can take place. You need to protect yourself from that. And I would say, unfortunately, that you're taking the step, but he's ending the marriage. And I would encourage you to take those steps.
Minister Fabio.
Yeah. So
this is America.
Yes.
This is Ghana.
This is Ghana. This takes my mind to when we started Family Life series, when we were looking at the red flags. You know, we talked about get married to somebody who you are attracted to and who is attracted to you. So maybe during the courtship stage, you may have realized his likeness for people of his tribe, and you could have, you know, at that stage, bring it up and have a discussion. So fast forward, you've gotten married, and now you are seeing a pattern where he's having several, relationship with people of his tribe. Like Pastor Joe said, you need to get somebody to sit him down and have a discussion. You may have talked to him yourself and probably it's not working. So this is where we always advise that, the pastor of your local church, your counselor, whoever took you through counseling before getting married, you get that person involved, to sit down and have a discussion that this is something that is not working for you and that he has to change. If not, then it may, require some separation for him to realize. Because I've come to realize that sometimes from the other episode, when there's separation, the man or whoever is, at fault, or whoever is, abusing or doing the wrong thing, realizes that, okay, so there's actually an option for the other person to leave if I don't, check myself. But so far as you continue to stay and this continues over time, they begin to take the relationship and take you for granted. So I would say that get somebody involved, sit him down. If he's not going to agree to it, then you can, ask for separation for him to see how this is affecting you. Because like Pastor Joe said, this is an abuse. You said he's not physically abusing you, but emotionally you're disturbed. And this can go to the extent of making you lose yourself. You have one child, there's a second child. The child has to grow in happiness. You have to be excited. Anytime you're pregnant and you are always sad and gloomy, it affects the baby, in the womb. So this is the time where you need to be happy, as a family, be excited about the baby that you're about to give birth to. And this is not the time for you to be contemplating this. So I would say get somebody involved. If it's not working, separate and then see how it goes.
Well, the Bible gives us the option to divorce when one party is committing adultery. If it's something you can't deal with, in other words, if you can't deal with his adultery, then like Pastor Joe said, come out. But I have also come to realize, especially in this part of the world, the men change. For instance, we heard Mami Dokno's testimony where her husband was sleeping with multiple women. But then he was a very good man, took very good care of her, took very good care of the children. Years down the line, he changed. And now Mami Dokno regretted and said, if she knew, she would have waited a bit. And I've heard so many testimonies like that where people felt, oh, maybe I should have been a bit patient. So if you think that you can't deal with it, then my darling, come out. If it's really affecting you emotionally and health-wise, come out. But if you think you can forgive him and hold on a bit, especially if he's Christian, he's born again, trust me. Reverend Joe could come, preach, the Holy Ghost could touch him, and he could change. I mean, we've seen and heard these testimonies for so many times. So if something you can't deal with and it's affecting you, then come out. But if you think you can forgive him, give him a bit of a chance, then hold on. Because we've also come to realize that some women are exceptionally jealous. Sometimes they imagine, oh, my husband is going to bed with his PA. My husband is sleeping with his tribe woman. My husband is sleeping with secretaries. My husband is... There was one story I heard where this wife suspected that the husband was sleeping with this particular woman and would always follow them around. And they would always meet at a particular place. So this particular time, went there and it was so chaotic, only to realize that that woman was the man's architect. And the man actually wanted to surprise the wife on her 50th birthday, and kept, taking the woman to the side to. So sometimes we need to be very, very careful of our facts.
Yes.
Very, very careful and sure of our facts. Don't jump into conclusions when you haven't caught him red-handed. And trust me, if you pray, God will let you. Will let you see him. Don't just assume that he's going out with ladies. Don't move by what you hear. Somebody is calling you. I saw your husband in this restaurant with this man, with this woman. I saw your. It might be just female friends or colleagues or business partners. But then, if you're extremely sure and you think it's something you can't deal with, then I would advise you to come out of the relationship.
Well, I guess dealing with a jealous partner is one topic that we'll have to be handling very soon.
Yeah, we'll have to handle it.
And Minister Fabio spoke about the threat of separation sometimes helping. And I remember recently a case was referred to Minister Fabio, and just 1 week of separation by the woman ended series of serious chronic physical abuses. Yeah, and well, this is why you are on Powerline TV Live series, where we give practical solutions to everyday issues that you are facing. Here in Family Life, we say we are building stable and very happy homes. Well, this is a message coming from Ifia up north in Bolgatanga. Says, hello, Mama Rita. God bless you for this program and how you are helping women to build confidence in themselves.
Thank you, Ifia.
Well, we have a question here. Good evening, Mommy. God bless you more for me. I am a 27-year-old lady who has already lost my self-confidence because growing up, I always saw my dad, who is a pastor, verbally abusing my mom everywhere. Both could hardly talk for 5 minutes without my mom getting abused, irrespective of whether we were there or there were people around. This has made me so afraid of entering into any relationship, and sometimes I tell myself I can't get married because if even a pastor could be doing this, what will happen with other men? Please, how do I deal with this fear? Kindly help me.
Pastor Joe, this is what is happening in homes. This girl is the daughter of a pastor, sees the dad, not only the dad, but her pastor, abusing, verbally abusing her mother all the time. She's so afraid of entering into any relationship, she lost her confidence. And for a person like that, if she still even has her salvation, we will thank God. Because to see your pastor and your dad do this all the time, you could easily lose your salvation.
Yes, of course.
And go into the world and not want to be a part of the church. So what should she do?
Well, I think the father, the earthly father, naturally, if a person isn't intentional, they actually think that that's what God is like. So how their earthly father treats them, they assume that that's the way God is. So for the earthly father who is a godly man and treats his daughter well, she gets a good understanding of who God is. But for the one who isn't, they have to now become intentional and think through and realize that, hey, what I saw growing up is not necessarily the way God relates to us. So I grew up in a home with a verbally and emotionally abusive father. And he was like that mostly to my mother, but also to the 5 children. So we saw that, and so as the boy with a similar personality to my father, I found I had the same tendencies.
Wow.
You duplicate what you see when you're growing up.
That's true.
And I found in my relationships, I had a tendency to get angry like my dad did, and to be, I don't know if I'd say as far as verbally abusive, but I would be overly dominant with the girls when I was dating. And I knew that that was wrong, and I found myself doing that when I was dating Tony, the woman I married. And I remember once she said, "You remind me," I was being impatient with her, and she said, "You remind me of your father."
Wow.
Which shook me to the core, because that's not what I wanted to be. And I found this may be helpful, that once I was still angry with my father for what I saw him do to my mom and my siblings. And that anger, it creates, when you're angry at someone, we know it's not right to be angry. There's an anger that's not sinful, but this was an anger that become resentment. And when you know what's right and wrong, I was a believer at the time, so we look to justify the anger with blame. So I wanted to be able to blame my father, so in being angry at him, I would constantly remind myself of all the things he did wrong, so that I felt okay about being angry, but that caused me to focus on his life and his bad behaviors. And what I needed to do, and what I finally did, is I forgave my dad for the abuse that went towards my mom, towards my siblings, and even towards me. And once I forgave him, I was free to change.
Wow.
So I would say to Afia, what you've got to do, first of all, you have to start by forgiving your dad. And you know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, that is not the behavior of a godly man, but it doesn't mean your dad is not a godly man. He probably saw that growing up in his own home. So you've got to forgive him and release him from the debt. And then you have to have the courage to take a chance at love. Because love is a risk. And when you take a chance to love, there's a chance of you being hurt. But perfect love casts out fear. So you can stay single for the rest of your life, and you'll not be hurt by a man like your father hurt your mom. But then you're going to be alone. Or you can realize that you have to take a risk, and you need to be careful about who it is that you date and who it is that you marry, and you need to get pre-marriage counseling from some of the people that are here at the church that are very equipped to do that. And you need to make sure that you see what kind of man it is you're marrying. But even so, the love in marriage will cast out the fear of what could be. And I would say, choose wisely, forgive your dad.
Minister, do you want to add something to it?
Okay, so Pastor Joe has said it all. But what I would want to add is, the same way you've looked and seen a negative example and it has had an effect and an impact on you, also look out for a positive marriage, a positive example of marriage in the church, in your community.
Very good.
You know, a marriage couple that are doing everything that you desire, and you wish for that, and then you also learn from them. That would give you the confidence to know that yes, there's a bad side which you may have seen, but there's also a very good side in marriage that you can enjoy once you are learning from the example of people who are doing it right. So in addition to what Pastor Joe has said about forgiving your dad, which is very important, also try and get a role model couple that you can also learn from, and it will help a lot.
Excellent. Very good.
It's going to say exactly that. My darling, for a lot of people, their biological parents let them down so badly. They had nothing to learn from their biological parents. My husband had nothing to learn from his father, because his father was abusive, physically abusive, verbally abusive, didn't pay school fees and all that. But I believe he looked up to Christ and looked up to, people within the church that we could see as fathers and mothers. And he began to learn from them. So there are people within your community, people within the church that have successful and stable marriages. Look up to them. See them as your parents. And I believe that impartation from them will help you build your relationship and then now desire to marry. Don't just look at your dad and don't just look at your mom. But like Reverend Joe is saying, you could also forgive your dad. Remember that he's human. He's a pastor, but he's human. If you learn to forgive him, I believe that there'll be a fresh page to start from, and you will meet another man who is much better, who will love you and respect you, and will not treat you like your father treated your mom.
All right, thank you. This is Family Life Series. Keep your questions coming through +233-200-515253 across all networks and wherever you are across the globe. We are here. Mama Rita is here with her seasoned counselors, family coach to assist you address your situations. Philip Selali Awade says, "Mommy, you are looking stunning."
Thank you.
Good evening, Mama Rita.
Good evening.
Please, I have been battling depression for some years now. This is because any relationship I have entered into has failed. I am 38 years, and mostly the men want to just take advantage of me. This depression is killing me. What should I do?
Minister Fabio Wilson will answer. Right after this one, we will go for a commercial break and we will be back. Please don't change the station. Minister Fabio.
Well, so I think the depression is coming from the fact that she is attributing everything that has gone wrong to herself. Okay. So she's actually blaming herself for everything that goes wrong. And that is not a good approach, because when you do that, you beat yourself down too hard that sometimes it's very difficult to even have the confidence and then, you know, your self-worth. So instead of doing that, look at what caused all these separation. Probably you are attracting a certain kind or a certain group of men who are of the same behavior. So maybe you should look at, you know, what kind of people that you are attracting, you know, which is taking you through a cycle. You go to a relationship and then step back and see if you can do anything differently, okay? Again, if you've been watching this program, I'm sure there are so many things that Mama Rita has shared, you know, what to talk about during courtship, how to behave, you know, in relationship.
What to do,
what not to do.
The red flags.
There are so many things that, you know.
Don't go and cook for him. Don't go to his house. Going to tidy up his house.
Give him your money.
Don't go and give him your money. Don't go and build a house for him. Don't go and buy him a car.
On Father's Day.
Father's Day.
He has not married you yet.
He hasn't married you yet. And you are carrying big parcels. And you are the one offering him money. You are feeding him breakfast, lunch, supper, my darling. The truth is that the men don't even like that. They enjoy it, but they don't like that.
Does that really happen here?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
It does.
Oh.
It does.
Don't let the American men know that they might want to move to Ghana.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So like I was saying, if this is the first time you're watching this or you've watched, go to the YouTube channels, look at the old video and learn some of these things. And then in your new relationship or the one that you'll be entering to, try not to do some of the things that Mommy just, you know, spoke about. And Pastor Joe said something the last time. The relationship has to be godly. There are certain things that are not negotiable when it comes to the relationship. There are certain things that you have to let God be at the center of the relationship. if the person is not willing to, be with you in church and do the things that you stand for,
like that.
then right from there, you know that this thing is not going to end well. So,
and he said something. He said the very first day he went on a date with his wife, they went to the restaurant to eat. But after eating, they prayed.
yeah.
They prayed.
And,
Please go ahead.
and after prayer, he also laid out what he expects, the do's and don'ts in the relationship right there. So right there, if you are the lady and you know you can't do this and you're going to be stuck with him for the rest of his life, then right away you back out. So let some of these things come out. Don't think that when you do that, you scare the men away. When you do that, you are rather scaring off those that are not the right men for you. But if you try to, and let me just keep it on the low, you'll be attracting a certain kind or a certain group of men who would always disappoint you. And please, don't feel too bad about, the previous relationship to the extent of getting depressed. It's better to have a broken relationship than to get a divorce. So if it didn't work, then see it as this was not meant for you and this was not meant to work. I think I'll let Pastor Joe add up to.
Well, boy, these are tremendous answers. And if I understood the question correctly, was she saying that she was being pressured to be involved physically, sexually by these men?
No, she's been entering into relationships. But it looks like every relationship doesn't work.
And the men are interested also in having sex.
The men are only interested in having sex.
So, yeah, that's what I thought I heard. So let me say this. My daughter was very committed to purity. She's a beautiful young woman. And when she was in high school, they date very young in America. It's a problem, but that's what they do. But my daughter didn't have very many guys that wanted to date her because she wasn't willing to do some of the things that the other girls were doing. And my daughter felt rejection. And I hope your dad is in your life to remind you of the things that we're telling you. But my daughter would come to me and I'd say, Brianna, they don't deserve you. They know they're not ready to settle down. They just want to have a good time. And I'm glad that they don't come to you because they know you're better than that. And apparently this young lady that asked this question, you are better than that, and I'm proud of you. The only thing worse than being single is being married to the wrong person. Please be patient. I didn't get married till I was 29. My wife was 33. And if I would have married any of the girls from when I was younger, it would have been a mistake. So you relax. You're only 27 years old. You have a whole lot of life ahead of you. Choose wisely.
She's actually 38.
38, okay? You're a little bit older, so it's 38, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. You wait and don't settle for anything less than a godly man who will treat you the right way.
My darling, at 38, you are still young. Yes. You are behind time, but I have seen it so many times where people are getting married at age 39, people are getting married at age 40, and recently my armor bearer in America, Grace to Grace, Mami Sewa, at 42 got married. I mean, it's happening.
You've actually celebrated a 50-year-old wedding in Royal House here.
We've celebrated a 50-year-old wedding in Royal House Chapel. My darling, God's time is the best. Continue to hold on. Continue to pray. Make yourself happy with or without a man in your life.
Amen.
It is good to get married, but that's not everything.
No, it's not.
There are people who are married and are not happy.
Yes.
Now in your singleness, my darling, have fun. Go to church. Join a group. Join the choir if you know how to sing. Join the ushering department to welcome guests. You can teach the children at the children's department. You can handle the teens. You can handle the aged ministry. School of Restoration. I've seen so many people get very active in church. And whilst they were active, somebody met them. There's a lady who is getting married in a month or so. Pastor Chifape,
Yes, ma'am.
guess how she met the guy? Through General Assembly.
Wow.
General Assembly last year.
The annual gathering of our pastors, leaders of
We have a gathering of all our pastors and leaders annually. And while she came, minding her business, another man, also from one of our churches, saw her and said, no, I think God is speaking to me.
Wow.
This is somebody I would want to get married to.
Yes.
I know somebody who also went to a conference, and all she was doing was sweeping and arranging chairs. And another man saw her and said, wow, if this woman, beautiful lady like this, can arrange chairs and sweep church, then my home will be very neat.
Yes.
So my darling, at 38, don't lock yourself up and cry. At 38, don't be depressed. You have life. People died at age 30. People died 32. At 38, you have life. There's so much to be thankful for. As for the husband, I'm prophesying to you that it is coming, and it is coming
Amen.
quick and fast. Get up, put the pieces together, go to church, serve God, do something for God, and you will say that I am glad I waited for the right person. Anybody that comes that wants to see your nakedness and sleep with you, trust me, the person is not right for you.
That's right.
The person is not your husband.
That's right.
The person is a cousin to Satan himself.
All right, like Mommy said, we'll go for a short commercial break. We'll be with you shortly. All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is Family Life series on Powerline TV, on Facebook, Mama Rita K, Facebook, Sam Crunchy Ankara, on YouTube, Powerline TV, and across your digital channel, the favorite one, Powerline TV, wherever you are. And it's getting exciting. We have Mama Rita with her great guest, Minister Fabio, and Pastor Joe Centineo. Well, you can actually catch videos and teachings spanning several topics on YouTube and Facebook. Just type Joe Knows with Joe Centineo. Joe Knows. It's actually on your screen on the crawler at the moment. Joe Knows with Joe Centineo. You'll get all his videos, all his teachings, and you can also go to crossroadsarl.org/Joe Knows. crossroadsarl.org/Joe Knows, and you can follow all his teachings. And well, Pastor Joe, you were telling us something interesting when we were on the break.
Yes,
about
yes.
preparing yourself while single and expecting. I think you may want to touch on that.
There were two things, and the first one is while you're single, I remember a pastor telling me this, that when you're single, you have the gift of celibacy. Now, you may not have that gift for your whole life, but that's when you're to stay single, and God will give you the ability to do that. He'll give you that gift until you find the right person. But while you're looking for the right person, you should be working harder on becoming the right person. So for me, until I got married, I was 29, I was becoming the man of God that a woman would help me to be a great husband to a wife. And my wife was doing the same thing. And I would encourage you, if you're single and you desire to be married, know that God will give you the gift of celibacy, but you work hard to become the woman that man, whoever he is going to need, and hopefully he's doing the same. The other thing I wanted to get permission, because I wasn't really sure of the culture here, and I've done work in missions for many years in many different countries as a youth pastor as well as a lead pastor, but I know what I don't know. So when I'm in a country like this, I understand that there's a lot of things I don't understand. So I asked permission, and Mama Rita said, oh yes, it's coming here. One of the things that I think helps an older person in particular that's single to find a married person is the internet. And when it first came to America, I was not very happy with it. I was skeptical about it, but...
Pastor Joe, I wasn't too.
Yeah.
I have said it so
Yes.
many times to our members, you know, the young ones. We have a big church. Why do you go to the internet to look for a husband or to look for a wife? But I guess the world is changing. And we are a bit of old school,
Yes.
but the world is changing. My darling, if you are 31, you came to me some years back and I said, no, don't go on the internet. Now you are 31, 32, 33, 34, and it's still counting like the lady who is 38. Please listen to Pastor Joe.
Yes. So, so what you want to do on the internet is you want to be very clear in who you are as a follower of Jesus Christ. That He's the Lord of your life, that you're very much a part of church, and that you intend to continue that when you're married, and that you're committed to a life of purity until marriage. Now that'll scare the bad ones away.
Like that.
And then you can maybe find someone, because in America, those sites, a lot of people with bad intentions visit the Christian sites, and you have to. I've been told by the many single people in our church that were older and using the internet, you have to be very careful. But I just did a wedding 4 weeks ago for one of the most wonderful couples. Both of them experienced divorce. They were biblical divorces. One of them was a man who was married to a woman who began to go after women.
Wow.
And it took him a long time to finally, he had to end that marriage. And the woman was in a very abusive relationship. And they stayed single for many years. And they found each other, two of the most wonderful people. Well, I'm not going to mention their names because of what I told you about their former spouses. But I got to do their wedding, and incredible. So I think it's a tool, but be careful. Be very careful.
Some years back, we got a group, or no, we visited Connecticut. There's a white church my husband and I preach in Connecticut. So we had gone to this church, and you know, because of what I do, when I meet couples, how did you meet? And these were two lovely couples. The gentleman was a typical American, and the lady was an Indian. So I was wondering, how did you meet? They said they met through the internet. And this about maybe 10 years ago.
Yes.
And at the time, I had never heard anything like that. Nobody had, and I was so shocked. Yet their marriage was so beautiful.
Yes.
And these were two born-again believers. I mean, two Christians.
She was American Indian or from India?
From India.
From India, yes.
From India.
Yes.
And they met on the net, I think one of these dating sites, Christian dating sites. Please listen, Christian dating sites.
Yes, yes.
And they got connected and they got married.
And Mama Rita, here's the thing. For some, before they would do that, they would maybe go out to a bar or to a club. Well, we don't want to meet someone there.
No.
But you know what else they would do? They would go from church to church to try and find someone. I don't think that's a good idea either. You're in a church, you're planted there, you have a pastor, you have a spiritual family around you, but if there aren't a lot of single people there, sometimes you feel you have to do that, but the internet makes it possible for you to find someone and not leave your church and your church family.
So I think in future,
Yes, ma'am.
we will have to get some of the Christian internet sites where you can go on and get a wife and go on and get a husband. And this is not for the younger ones, my darling. You don't need to go on the net when you are 21, 22, 25. Please don't. It's for 30 years and above.
Yes, yes.
And if I ever told you no, please, now I say yes. If I ever said no to you, there are few people who came to me and I said no. But if you came to me a few years back, please, I was old school. Now I'm not old school anymore.
Good.
You are in new school.
I'm new school. I'm changing. So one of my spiritual daughters found somebody on the net, and in searching she got maybe about 5 people. So started talking and finally got this guy, and it's been about 2 years, and the relationship is moving on so well.
Great.
I don't want to mention her name. Is moving on so well, and I think her parents are like me. So when she came to tell me, she said, "Mama Rita, I don't think my parents would accept this. Please don't tell them." I said, "Listen, we all changing. The world is changing. As long as it's a Christian site and it's worked out, tell them the truth."
Yes.
And she's told them they've met a young guy, and I think they've fallen in love with the young guy. And I think I love the guy too.
Ooh.
So please, 30
Very nice.
years and above, next week, we are bringing all the sites. Go on and look for a husband. And I meet people who are looking for husbands, especially for the ladies. I always say that in this part of the world, for the men, it's not a problem. It's the ladies.
I see.
All they do, work, home,
Yeah.
work, home. They come to church, immediately they share the grace, they are off. My darling, it's difficult for somebody to meet you. I'm not saying go to the club. I'm not saying that. But we have weddings where outsiders come. Come to the wedding. My darling, come to the wedding. Come to the wedding. You may never know. Somebody invites you, go out, work, socialize.
Old school associations.
Old school associations, you may never know. You always keep a straight face.
Don't take smile and take pictures for status.
Eh?
Every day you are serious.
Every day you are serious. You are not smiling to anybody. People see you and they say hello, and you look at them, be nice. I believe if you are nice, you are going out, to weddings and all these things, I believe somebody will find you. Yes. My darling, the 38-year-old, you have the blessing of Pastor Joe. Look for Christian sites. Go on.
Yes.
Tell them, I am born again. No sex before marriage. All the bad nuts will run away and the good ones will come.
Amazing. So we'll be getting those for you. And I don't really know if we have a Ghanaian site. Probably Family Life Series may be considering doing
maybe
something like this
we can do
yeah,
it.
we
I think
very
so.
Good technical
Yeah.
guys
And this thing I did at WMG camp.
the speed date.
The speed date. I did
Yeah.
something. I had never heard it before. I heard it for the first time from our young ones. Hey, these young ones are training me.
I still get a little nervous with the speed dates.
Oh, you get?
A little nervous just because you don't know who they are exactly.
No, we are talking about church.
Oh, in church I like.
This one was church, and it was a youth camp.
Oh, that's great.
And they asked me to do the speed dates.
Because they do them in America just for strangers. You go to a restaurant,
Oh, okay.
and then you meet people that are complete strangers, and that makes me a
Complete
little
strangers.
nervous.
No.
But at
This
the
one is
church,
within the church, and at our youth conference, and I did it.
Oh, I love
Some of
that.
our young ladies were not some of our young ladies. Some of the ladies who could have been part of it were bluffing,
oh,
and others did it. This lady found herself a nice, handsome guy. It's been how many years?
I think 3 years. if I'm
3
wrong. They are married now.
3,
Wow.
4 years. They are married, and they are happily married. If you are watching me, I am praying, the two of you, you are my testimony. You are going to be pregnant very soon, and you are going to have your own children. I know you've been waiting for it. Please hold on. God will smile at you. I'm going to hear your testimony, just like we heard your testimony at camp 2019 or so. I believe that we are going to hear your camp. 22, you'll be coming with your baby.
And actually, we
Or
have
with
a
your
lot of
babies.
people giving us pressure to bring
Yeah.
back the speed dates.
They
Mama
have the
Rita,
opportunity.
can I suggest something?
Yes,
Because the church is so large,
Yeah.
the Apostle General's ministry. What if you started a Christian dating site?
That's
And-
what
Yeah.
we are looking at.
But even on the internet,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So the speed dating is when they come and they sit down and meet with different.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But even
Yes.
the dating site, because a lot of the dating sites, one of the dating sites in America, they forced them to have a place for men to meet men and women to meet women, and they gave in.
Interesting.
They forced them to do it. So, but the church would never make any of those.
No.
So that's why maybe the church doing it. My church is not big enough to have enough people to do that, but I think that would be an amazing place.
You should have been here to see our youth conference.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
What's the date again?
It's happening on August 28th and 29th.
You know, I was a
August
youth
20
pastor for so
Yeah,
many years, and I
yeah,
love students.
Yeah.
So,
you can live stream with us. So August 28th and 29th.
oh, it's
We are
wonderful.
having our youth conference. Please be part of it. This can be your opportunity and your chance to get hooked to somebody. And it's so big. We have over 10,000 young boys and girls.
What an amazing ministry this
Yeah.
church and this
Yeah.
show has. Amazing.
Yeah.
The last
So-
gathering was over 16,000 people at the
The-
University of Ghana.
Yeah. So we may never know. Please be praying. Maybe there's going to be another, how do you call it?
Speed date.
Speed dates. Those who were bluffing the last time, this time.
The energy is coming to stir the waters again. Well, just like Mommy said, this year, Movers and Shakers Conference with the Apostle General, with Mama Rita, is happening in August. The
And
28th
Bishop Ajana
Saturday.
Sari.
And we have also one of the fathers of the land, Bishop Charles Ajin Asare, also going to be there. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So wherever you are, you want to drive straight away to the Oyo Dome. It's happening at the Oyo Dome. It's going to be exciting. And for those outside Accra and outside Ghana, you have the opportunity to hook on via the channels where you are watching Family Life series at the moment.
And since we've advertised our WMG camp, let me take opportunity again. From the 1st to the 4th, from the 1st to the 4th of July, all the women of Royal House Chapel, and it's not just Royal House Chapel affair, we have people coming from a lot of churches. So please make a date with me from the 1st to the 4th of July, all women's affair, Royal Ladies Camp 2021. And remember, last year, in the heat of COVID, we had our camp. This January, in the heat of COVID, we had our camp. And people came back with testimonies. So trust me, it's going to be another heaven on earth. Make a date with me from Tamale, from the Volta region, from Ashanti region, from Congo, from South Africa, from Israel, where people have been calling in a lot.
Yes, we have from Cameroon, we have
From Cameroon,
Nigeria, Sierra
from
Leone,
Nigeria,
Liberia,
from Liberia.
we have
Please
Gambia.
make a date with me. Live stream with us. Jacob woke up and said, I didn't know that this was the gate of heaven. My darling, we are going to experience heaven on earth. I will see you next week.
All right. Interesting program. This message says, Mama Rita, God bless you for such an amazing program. May the Lord grant you resources to continue. Well, we are open to sponsorship.
Please continue to pray for me. Repeat that side again.
It says, may the Lord grant you resources to continue
I receive
this
it.
program.
God will bring me resources to continue this program. God will not only give me resources for family life, but God would also bring me resources for the city of Shiloh. Maybe you don't know about city of Shiloh, but I am building a camping site for number one, young couples who get married and they don't have money for honeymoon. There's going to be a place for honeymoon. It's also going to be a place for abused and battered women. Sometimes people continue to go through abusive relationships until they die because they just do not have a place to stay.
Of course.
I mean, no money, no food, no accommodation, nothing. So it's also going to be a place for abusive and married people. And then we have a school called School of Restoration. It's a school for drug addicts. It's a school for ex-convicts, former prisoners. It's a school for drunkards. It's a school for prostitutes who have come to a place in their lives where they say now they need help. We have a school for them. Every Thursday we meet them. Out of School of Restoration, you saw it a few months ago where I brought Eben, who is now doing masters all the way in South Korea. He was on drugs. He fell out of school. I put him in University of Ghana. Today, Eben is doing his masters. We also have Yawosai, who was on drugs, was in prison for 12 years, came out of prison. Today, Yawosai is married with a son and is a pastor in Royal House Chapel. And then we also had Maxwell. We also had Maxwell, who was also on drugs, came through School of Restoration. Today, Maxwell is a banker. So it's also going to be a place for like rehab. It's a rehab center where we are going to put people who are on drugs and they've come to a place where they think that, listen, I've had enough and I want to stop. People who are prostitutes and say, listen, I want to stop. People who are alcoholics and say they want to stop. Please help me. Let me help Mother Ghana. People are calling me from the north, from the Volta region. My darling, if you are sending messages from the Volta region, you sent me messages that you have 50 people who are drug addicts, and I sent you our sign. I haven't received any reports yet. Let me know if they were able to come. Please help me build this place, City of Shiloh, where it's going to be safe haven for our young girls and our young ladies and our young gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your decision to support us. And for corporate Ghana and institutions, brands, you can associate with us and it can actually be part of your corporate social responsibility. And apart from all the enormous benefits and social impacts that you'll be having, you could also save yourself a lot on your books as well. God richly bless you. We go straight to the next question. This one says, good evening. Today's episode is so inspirational and answering a lot of our situations. God bless you, Mommy.
Thank you. God bless you too, my darling.
She says, I am Gloria from the Upper East region. I have a friend who is going through serious domestic physical abuse. But whenever you try to talk to her, seeing signs of bruises on her and advise her to separate, it tells you the more she tries, the more she falls in love with him.
Oh my God.
She's suffering a lot in the marriage, Mommy. What can I do to help this friend out of this hell, she says.
Minister Fabio Wilson.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
I mean, you have seen that she's going through a difficult time, but she is, you know, living in a bubble. She's just trying to stay around. Sometimes people do that because they are afraid that, you know,
They're afraid of unknown. When I come out, what will my life be like?
They don't know what is out there for them. So sometimes they are just scared, you know, to let you know this is what is going on. Because even if you confront the husband and you go back to the police station to report, they don't also want the people to be, you know, in such situations. But we've heard it on this show several times that you may lose your life. You may be in this, you know, abuse, and one day, God forbid, he hits you, you hit your head, and then that's it. And if you have children, the children that you are trying to protect and be in the marriage, now they become, you know, orphans without you being there. it is better to seek help, and there are right places for you to get help. We've advertised a lot on the show, ARC Foundation, Legal Aid. There are so many other ways of getting the right help. Don't go somewhere and the first question they ask is, what did you do to deserve, what did you do to him for him to do this? There are professional people who are trained in Dovsu and in other places who can give you the needed help that would save your life.
And we actually had Dovsu coming last week to address a lot of these issues as well.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch that episode, please go back and watch and hear some of the resources that are available for you. Seek help and try and get the correct help. Don't just go to anybody to report your case. Go to the right places to get help. And sometimes when these people who are abusing you realize that you have actually stood up and done the right thing, it gets them to start, backtracking. And sometimes you do that and then you save your life. So please, tell your friend that there is help. She needs to go to the right place and she's going to get help. She shouldn't be afraid. Like Mama RITA is saying, very soon, City of Shiloh will have a place for such people. Because you're afraid, you go and report and he will throw you out and throw your kids out. If you go to the right place, even when they are throwing you out, they will find shelter for you and help you to rebuild your life. It's better for you to rebuild your life and start afresh and stay there and get beaten and depressed, and if you don't take care, you lose your life.
Reverend Joe.
My heart breaks.
Yeah.
So I've been here for about 8 days and I've talked a lot about America, and I've told you that things are not so great in America in so many ways. But one of the ways we are doing very well is protecting women from domestic violence. Domestic meaning violence in the home. And, I think a person gets to a place, you have a negative pattern. It probably started when you were dating, and he probably was pushing you around and being overly dominant, and now it's continued, and now it's become abusive, and he's hitting you, he's being violent. And for you to love that, for your friend to love that man, we have to help her. Because you can, when you're in a situation that is so unhealthy, you also become unhealthy as well. And she is very unhealthy. So I know that the church here is doing the things that only the government does in America.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you, because the government does it because the church doesn't do it. So I'm so encouraged to see these things happening, but we need to get her out of that context and talking to some people that can bring sense to her. It's a toxic relationship. Right. It's not a relationship that's doing any good, and you could lose your life. But what's happening is your children are watching, and they are going to tend to reproduce that. Right. They're seeing a man disrespecting a woman, and they're going to tend to disrespect women themselves. If it's your daughter there, she's going to allow herself to be treated that way. If it's your son, he's going to think it's okay to treat another woman like that. The pattern needs to be broken.
Yeah.
This is a sin pattern. This is something that's devastating, and we need to help this woman to have the courage to stand and break the pattern and break the curse that's coming on their family.
My darling, we brought Lawyer Jifa here, and Lawyer Jifa spoke about the citizen arrest. You see, sometimes when they are in these kind of situations, they don't have a mind of their own. They can't help themselves, neither can they think for themselves. That is why the Bible talks about being one another's keeper. God knows it. That's going to come to a time where individuals can't help themselves, and they will need people to stand with them. So my darling, there's what we call in Ghana the citizen arrest.
Civil responsibility.
It's your civil responsibility and your spiritual responsibility. So if your friend can't help herself, please report on behalf of your friend. You can report, or you can arrest on behalf of your friend. And that is what we call the citizen arrest. You can report to the police station, at the police station, and he can be arrested. I hope you get it. Don't sit down and be quiet and hear your friend die before you regret for not doing anything about it. We will take a few questions, we will bring down the curtain, and we will come your way again next week.
If only you have God, He will never disappoint
That's
you.
right.
And she says, I am glad you are using biblical principles to address these daily issues. I was wedded at the age of 22,
Wow.
not knowing my husband was a burglar and a drug addict.
Wow.
He was in Holland and at the time felt he had everything. When he finally came down to settle in Ghana, mommy, it turned out to be hell for me. Fornication, adultery, insults, beatings, physical abuses, you name it. We had 2 boys and a girl. He thought at the time that because of this, I couldn't leave. But following you, I have gained the courage and moved away.
Wow.
And I've made it. As he says, by grace and by your teaching, I am fine with the kids. Thank you for inspiring us.
Yes.
Amazing. Wow. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Congratulations, my
Thank you.
darling. You have done so well. And God will keep you, and God will protect you and your children. He will make you a father and a mother until you get a better father for your children.
Amen.
He will provide for you. He will be there for you. He will give you the heart and the wisdom and everything you need to be able to take care of your children. And trust me, tomorrow your children will rise up and they will call you blessed. They will say, thank you, mommy, for taking a bold step for our sakes. God bless you, and I love you.
Amazing. Where would you get this? You get practical teachings, you get detailed analysis, you get counseling, and on top you have prophetic declarations from a mother to set you apart. This is amazing.
Can I say
Yeah,
one more
please
thing
come
about
in.
this? Because I, as a youth pastor for so many years, 17 years, many times my teenagers, they hated their moms for tolerating the abuse that their father was sending their moms way.
Wow. Wow. Please let them know.
Yes, and even now there's resentment from the children of the families where the mom allowed the abuse to continue by staying married. As the children grow up, they're more angry at their mom for staying there than at their dad for doing the abuse.
Wow. Wow.
This is very interesting because
Very, very interesting.
here we rather hear the mothers saying that they are actually staying because of the children.
Because of the children.
So it's very good to hear that these children will grow up and they will feel you weren't staying
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
We are actually
Recently,
upset,
mommy
for
shared
making you.
a story of a child who said he was going to deal with the father when he grows up because of how he was treating the mother. Yes, it's interesting. All right, we'll go straight to our next question. A rather long one for you, mommy, and your
Wow.
counselor. It says, I am a female security officer and I got married to one of my colleagues. We have been married for more than 10 years. This man had 3 kids already before marriage, and mommy have been through hell. His first daughter is over 24 years, staying with us in a chamber and hall apartment. It seems whatever I do
I'm
now...
coming. Chamber and hall is what you will call studio
Okay,
in America.
a studio.
Yeah, but your studio looks more decent
Okay.
than our chamber and hall.
The chamber and hall is in another chamber and hall.
So in that studio, the man, the wife, live with the man's
3 other
daughter,
children.
who's 24 years old. Yeah.
There are actually 3 of them.
3 of them
The
are
first
still-
daughter is 24. He says, it seems whatever I do is being monitored. And whatever his kids tell him is the gospel truth and nothing from me. If they tell him I slap them, he comes and I get a slap back. If they tell him I insulted them, I know I have series of insults to deal with. I was going through hell. And because I was a security officer and solving other people's marital issues, I couldn't come out to talk about it. And with this, I assume it's one of the top security apparatuses in Ghana. I was afraid of the stigma. This thing went on till last year in December when I was 7 months pregnant. Mommy, even in my pregnancy, he was physically abusing me.
Wow.
On one of these fateful days, I decided to stay away small, which I had already discussed with him. He refused letting me go, but I insisted because anytime I visited the hospital, the midwives advised me that if I don't leave, they will stop taking care of me, since it was getting too much, and my blood pressure every time was on the higher side. The man once pushed me on the staircase. I fell rolling down. As pregnant as I was, I became unconscious for some time. When I regained consciousness, I asked someone to help me, and Mommy, you won't believe it, he stopped the person.
Wow.
And said I had gotten what I wanted. He left me there until I had gathered enough strength to pull myself up to the hospital. I wanted to go to the OPD, but the doctor, on seeing me, took me to the emergency ward because he said my situation was serious. I was admitted and moved to the ward for 2 weeks. Because of this abuse, I gave birth premature. I am now staying with my two older kids and the newborn who is 3 months old. I feel free as if nothing has ever happened to me. My problem is, Mommy, should I continue with the marriage or quit entirely? I have been through hell. I have 3 boys now, and we are now renting a room. Please help me. A rather troubling, long, and disturbing one, but she's out now. She wants to know, should she stay out, end it completely, or go back and hope that something will change?
I think you have to thank God for a great deliverance
from the pit of hell.
Exactly, because to hit you pregnant from stairs, rolling down,
fall unconscious,
fall unconscious, someone wants to help you and he's telling them not to. This person is just trying to end your life. It's so obvious that he's just trying to end your life. And for you to have survived, giving birth premature, and the baby even didn't die, and you yourself out of this is, a deliverance for you. So I'm wondering why you would want at this point to go back to Gaza.
Why would you want to go back to Gaza, my darling?
No more Gaza.
You just have to thank God and move on with your life. You've rented a place, you are employed, start doing something, take care of your children, pray to God to protect and keep you. And I think at this point, you've been out for how long? I don't know whether he's come looking for you. So at this point, you need to get the family involved, to start the separation process, because this is just too much, and it's very traumatizing to hear everything that you've gone through.
And even traumatizing for the children, and even the unborn baby.
This is just unbelievable.
Reverend Joe.
So I have a question. Number one, where are the police?
And this person sending us the message, I assume, is in one of these security agencies. She's a security officer.
I mean...
And she says because of the stigma.
I'm sure she's been dealing with these issues.
The stigma is his, and he should lose his job.
I like that.
In America, they lose it. You lose everything. You go to jail.
Thank you.
And the other question is, how do we get Shiloh built more quickly? Because this is a place that this woman needs to go. And now, did I understand correctly that he had children already when she married him?
Yes.
Yeah.
3.
So I want to just address that in a second. But again, you must call the police. I hope that Ghana, there's some things you can learn from America. Okay, and one of the things is that you deal with abuse and violence to a woman. Women are strong, but they are weaker physically. And men dominate and take advantage of them, and it needs to be stopped. And we need to deal with, men need to know that when they do that, they will be held accountable severely and go to prison. I don't think the prisons are very nice in Ghana.
No, at all.
Okay.
At all.
And that will stop them or slow them down.
I think the security system in Ghana works and they take these things serious, except that the victims usually either don't go or when they
They're
go
afraid.
and the processes start, they pull out.
Yeah, they're afraid,
Yeah.
and they're afraid of being alone, and I understand. And whoever that woman is, please, we're not being insensitive to you. We understand, but we want you to know you need to stay away.
Yeah.
Let me say something about, we have a lot of divorce and remarriage in America.
Okay.
So the idea of two people marrying that have children already, I face that all the time. It's a very common thing. So what happens? A man has two children, a woman has two children from a previous marriage, and now they get married. How does that work? What the idea of two becoming one, the priority relationship in the family being the marriage, what happens when there are already kids on the scene? Okay, it's very tricky and it's very difficult. So what we do, what I teach people is the new marriage is still the priority relationship in that family. So sometimes a woman will say, what do you mean? I have to put my new husband before my children? I say, you don't have to, but if you're going to get married, of course. And she says, well, I can't do that. And I say, great, I understand, then don't get married again. Because if you're going to enter the marriage and your children from previous relationship now come before your new marriage, you'll destroy the second marriage.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
very tricky, and what I encourage couples to do is you need to understand that, look, the second marriage, when a couple that's been divorced gets married, the new marriage, their two become one. So how can you be one with someone if the children come before the other person?
That's right.
So it's very tricky. So what I encourage couples to do, again, this is not God's standard. God's ideal is marriage is once for a lifetime.
Right.
And only death can separate the marriage, and you're not allowed to kill each other, okay? So only death. But again, we're in a broken world, and divorce takes place so much in America. So I tell them that the new marriage is a priority relationship, but keep it quiet with the children. You don't need to tell them that. See, when I tell my children, when my son would be disrespectful to his mom, to my wife, his mom, and I said to him, don't talk to my wife that way. My wife happens to be his mother. He actually likes that.
Okay.
He likes that. He's like, okay, dad is defending his wife, but she's my mom, and that's the right thing. But in the mixed marriage, when the husband says to his children,
Yeah.
don't disrespect my wife, and his wife is not
Yeah, mom.
their biological mom, it creates all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
That's why God hates divorce. But sometimes it happens, and remarriage takes place. I will marry couples who have been divorced. It's just sometimes I just don't know what to do. I know it's not God's standard, but I would say this: it's very difficult when there are already children on the way, and it needs to be navigated carefully. So I just throw that in.
Well, and I think we have another question which is very similar to what we just addressed, but I think I will run through it. It says, hello, Mama Rita.
Hello.
Please, my parents have been married for 44 years now.
Wow.
And we should be celebrating. But here goes the twist. The marriage wasn't so peaceful because my mom was abused physically, verbally, and financially, but she kept silent about it. 2 years ago, my father threatened to kill her after a misunderstanding. It was so serious that my mom left home for the fear of losing her life. However, a few months back, my dad has come asking for her to come back and that he needs her and the children in his life. We know it's all pretense and he's looking for an avenue to kill her, and this is a child talking about the
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
And he says,
How old is the child?
well, he didn't mention, but for a marriage that is 44 years, I
Okay.
assume that the children are quite
Yeah, they're
grown.
adults.
He says, my mom seems to be tempted by the idea of going
Oh
back.
my God.
What should she do and how can we help as children?
Whew. Are you ready to answer?
Yeah, so this is just like the one in the previous. You know, threats of death are not to be taken lightly. We saw what happened in the US between the Ghanaian pastor and the wife. So if there's a threat of death, you know, and you are out, I don't think they've even reported to the police.
No.
Threats of death, you have to go to the police to report.
Yeah.
And if you are out and he's trying to get you to come back, once the police is involved, if you really feel like going back or you think he's changed and you want to go back, if you've made a complaint at the police station, then he may have to come and sign some bond of good behavior. There may be some, you know, there's a history. So if anything happens and you quickly go back, the police can take it up from there and then take it, you know, on. But I think, you know, you knowing that this is what your dad is trying to do, get somebody that your mom respects and your mom will listen to, and let the person talk to her. Because if for 45 years she's been in an abusive relationship, and after 45 years now there's threats of death, I think that during that 45 years it wasn't really marriage, but you know, she's something endured like marriage. She's endured, she stayed on, probably because of the children. But now at 45, I think that you need to get somebody to speak to your mom so that, you know, she doesn't, you know, go into this. But if she still persists, then the threat report has to be made to the police station for them, you know, to get him to sign a bond of good behavior. And once they know that the authority and the law is watching, sometimes it forces them to behave themselves. So I think that is what I would advise you to do.
You know, I think I want to give some hope to Ghana, because hearing these stories, we're really only hearing from women.
Yeah.
And the abuse comes usually, almost always, from the man to the woman.
Yeah. And
it's very discouraging for me to hear these women, these wonderful women, having to endure this. But I want to give you some hope. Change is coming.
Amen.
But there has to be a strong advocacy that rises up.
Yeah.
And this is an awareness, this has to be made aware, and you have work to do. We've done the work in America. We've had many people, not only Christians, people who have fought for the protection of the women. And I think you're going to have to do that in Ghana, because it seems like this is a problem that's rampant. Right. And it has to be known. Women have to be given courage as they hear from multiple people everywhere that we will not tolerate this anymore. The church needs to stand for this, and men need to hear that it's not going to be tolerated, and men need to be confronted by other men, and we need to get on this. But I believe it'll happen in Ghana, and the sooner the better. Please, people that have a voice, please, we need to stop this and let men know they cannot do this, and let women know that we're going to stand with them.
Whew, my darling, after 44 years in an abusive relationship, your husband should be your children, your grandchildren. Be happy with your children. Mm-hmm. Be happy with your grandchildren. Have fun with your grandchildren. If you don't have a car, walk them to school. Take care of them. Take care of their homework. Be there for your grandchildren at this time. Why would you be in such a relationship and go back for you to be killed? My darling, don't allow your mom to go back.
Yes.
I believe you perceived it right, that your father is luring your mother to go back to kill her. These men are sick. Mm-hmm. He's hearing voices. Protect your child. Protect your mom.
Yes.
On this note, do we have any more? Or we can take it?
I wanted us to sign off with one testimony message.
Okay.
So you just want to go ahead and throw it back to me.
So please go ahead with it.
All right. Mommy, we have a comment that I think we can conclude with, which gives hope and signs us off on this particular episode beautifully. Says, I thank God for your life, Mommy, and for this program. I had been through a lot and had been depressed, but listening to you in the past few weeks has really encouraged me and built my confidence.
Wow.
She says, I'm a single parent and working now. Was dating this gentleman when I got pregnant. He insisted I abort the baby, but I rejected. He started giving me attitude and ignored me totally, but I persisted and went ahead. I had my child finally through cesarean operation. My baby is 8 months now, and by God's grace, she's doing great, appears smarter, and growing beautifully. He hasn't set eyes on the baby. Strangely, I am no more bothered like I used to be listening to you. I feel empowered,
Good.
and I'm happy and looking forward
Hallelujah.
to God's own time.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Congratulations, my darling. You have done so well. There are victims who came on this show, moved out of abusive relationships. Some of them have remarried better men, and their children are doing so well. The Lord will give you the strength to also take care of that child. I believe God will bring someone better into your life. God bless you. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you to Minister Fabio Wilson.
Thank you, Mama.
You are not stopping coming to my show.
Yes.
Anytime you come on, you do so well.
Yes.
Thank you and thank you and thank
Yes.
you. Reverend Joe, I can't wait to have you back in Ghana.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
It may be sooner than we think.
I've been so honored to have had you on my show.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And you did so well. And I kept getting messages and messages and messages. When you came the first time, I thought it was going to be just once. But people kept calling me and then sending me messages. When is Pastor Joe coming? Thank you so much for honoring my program.
Oh, it's.
I will see you again, maybe next year.
Can I give you a word of blessing?
Please do.
What you're doing here is as important as anything that's happening in this church. Mama Rita, you need to become a champion for the women in this nation and in Africa. And I believe that you're the one to do that. So I want to prophesy that over you, that God has called you to step up and rise up and give women a voice and give them hope. Lord, would you help her to do that in a mighty way, to continue to do that, but in a greater way than she ever imagined. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, I'm not the same woman, oh.
Hey.
Charlie, I have received blessings
Jesus.
and prophecies. I will see you same time, same week, same time, same day next week. I don't know what we might be doing. If there are too many questions, we might do another Ask Mama Rita.
We still have a lot of them actually.
We still have
a lot of questions.
Oh, wow. I hear we still have a lot of questions. So we might do another Ask Mama Rita, or I am going into a brand new topic. I don't know yet, but see you same time, same day next week. My darling, take good care of yourself. COVID is not over yet. Protect yourself. Continue to wash your hands. Wear your masks. Have social distancing. I want to see you alive. I'm taking good care of myself, taking care of my stress. I don't know about you. Love you from all my team, from Powerline TV and from Family Life. Good evening. Enjoy the rest of the week and expect a miracle. God bless you, and I love you.